Hello and welcome back to Grief Inspired. My name is Catherine McNulty, and as most of you know, I am running some ongoing grief courses to help all of you learn how to move through your grief and how to keep on living, because the reality is that your loved one has died and you can't change that. And you are the one who is left here on this earth for however long you're going to be here. And you have a choice to make. And since you're watching this video, I know that the choice that you've made is that you do want to keep on living. And so I want to help you do that. And so in today's video, I want to talk about a tool that I use in my grief course a little bit, just to give you a sense of what we do there. It's a powerful tool that you can use to help you heal and to help you not only keep on living, but really live your life to the fullest. So I can't wait to share it with you. Welcome back. So the tool that I want to share with you is a tool that I've learned on my grief journey. So this isn't anything that I've made up. I'm not taking any credit for it, because I have leaned in strongly at different portions of my grief journey into the work of Byron Katie. If you haven't heard of Byron Katie, I want to encourage you to pay attention. Look for her book. Her book is called, well, she has several books, but one of her books is called Loving What Is. And that's what I'm referencing today. She also has lots of YouTube videos. If you like to watch YouTube videos, then you can find lots of her videos there. As a matter of fact, she did a fantastic video with David Kessler, which is specifically relating to grief, that I think is very powerful, that I share with all the folks in my grief course. So this tool is, as I said, from her book, Loving What Is, and it's a tool to help us kind of rewire the way that we think. And it's based on the premise that when we suffer, when we feel sad, we sometimes make it worse, and that the cause of our suffering is really based on the thoughts that we think. And this is a situation you can look. So say, for example, you're someone who has lost a parent, and you have brothers and sisters, and maybe you are the one that's grieving more deeply than your siblings are. So maybe it's because your relationship was closer, or maybe it's because of the thoughts that you think and the things that are going off in your head that's making your grief more painful. And so there's an opportunity to pay attention to the thoughts that you're thinking, and we call it observing our thoughts. And what Byron Katie talks a lot about is questioning our thoughts and getting curious and spending time thinking about what we're thinking about. So I want you to take a second here and spend a little bit of time throughout the next day thinking about the thoughts that are going off in your head. When you think of your grief, when you think of your loss, what are the thoughts that are hurtful to you, that don't make you feel good, that you're thinking? It could be thoughts like, this is so hard. I don't know how to get through this. I'll never get through this. I'm never going to be happy again. I know that's one that I had. This is just the worst thing. I'll never be able to handle this. Maybe it's the thoughts that no one understands me. No one gets what I'm going through. Maybe it's I feel abandoned because the people that I thought would show up for me, they're nowhere to be found. They're ghosting me. There's a lot of negative thoughts that we can have. These can be thoughts of guilt. I'm a terrible person because I did this. I'm a terrible person because I didn't do this. There's lots of things that go on up in our heads that we really tend to beat ourselves up about. And I know that if you follow me, that if you watch my videos, that's something that I have personally always struggled with a bit. Really not saying nice things to myself in my own head. And I can oftentimes be nicer to the people around me and say nicer things to other people than I do to myself. So if that's you, if you tend to be harder on yourself than you are on other people in your life, I want you to drop a comment below and let me know. And then also comment, what are the things that you say to yourself that are really damaging? The things that they play on repeat in your head, and you know what they are. And if you don't know what they are, then it's just a matter of observing your thoughts, spending time just paying attention. In my course, I recommend that people carry around a pad and a piece of pencil and a piece of paper, and write them down as you go throughout your day. Anytime you think and you see yourself and you think of yourself saying, "Oh, I just thought that, and that's terrible. I'm being terrible to me," write that down. And then the work, which is what Byron Katie calls it, is once you know what that thought is, the work is then to first ask yourself the question, is that true? So for example, let me give you an example. A lot of people will say, and these are people in my grief course or in my Facebook group. So if you're not in my Facebook group, I want to invite you to find my Facebook group, because that's a place where you can come and you can talk to other people and you can share what's going on. You can read other people's stories. But what's different about that Facebook group than maybe some of the other ones that you're following or maybe participating in is that it's a very positive place. It's not a place just to wallow. It's more of a place to say, how do I get through this? This is happening and it's really hard. And how do I move through it? And so that's why the tools are so important to me. We have a focus. Grief Inspired is a focus on healing. It's on healing and moving forward and releasing some of these painful emotions that we have to deal with as part of our grief. So again, going back to thinking, I don't have anyone. First of all, you're here, so you've got me. So that's one person. So I want you to ask the question, is that really true? When we say that, no, because you have me. You have the Facebook group that you can join. Maybe it's the people in your life that you wanted to show up for you that leave you feeling abandoned. But when you say, I feel abandoned and no one cares about me, the question that you then want to ask yourself is that true? And can you absolutely, for sure, know that that's true? And then the work that Byron Katie talks about is, sitting in that and saying, is it really true? Is it true that I don't have anyone who cares about me? Is it true that I'm completely abandoned and I have no one? Now, I think it's normal for us to feel that way, especially when we're deep in grief. But the truth is what you're looking for. The truth is, at a minimum, you have me. If you reach out to me at griefinspired@gmail.com, right? I'll always return any emails or comments on these videos that you leave. I personally do that. If you're in the group, there's people there who are more than ready and willing to help you. So when we say, is that true? Well, maybe it is true that the people you expected to be there for you, maybe they are ghosting you, maybe they have abandoned you, maybe they don't understand you. But that doesn't mean that no one understands you. Because there are so many of us who are on the grief journey, who have been in a similar situation that you're in, right? Who can empathize with where you are, can validate your feelings and say, yeah, this is big. This is really big. And even though the people around you may be minimizing it, there are those of us here who get it. And so this community, the Grief Inspired community, is really here to support you so that you don't feel alone and abandoned and misunderstood, right? What I try to do here is make the whole grief process less lonely, for number one, less painful, because if you have other people who understand, it does make it less painful, and then less confusing, because It's tools like this that help you. Like, what do I do in this scenario? How do I change my thought process? Because our thought processes are really the things that are most damaging to us. That is something that I've learned. And so this tool, the work of Byron Katie, and I've given you just a glimpse of it. There's so much more. You could go in depth into her work and spend months and months learning about her work. But this is a start, and it's a place to encourage you to question what the thoughts are in your head, and just to say, I'm thinking this, is that true? And then just sit in it and say, is it true? Is it true for me? So I want to hear how this goes for you. I want you to drop comments below. What are the thoughts that are not good for you that go off in your head? Because I can guarantee you that if you are thinking it, there's a lot of other people who are thinking it too. So there's nothing to be ashamed. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. We think terrible things in our head about ourselves. We're really hard on ourselves, and it's part of the process. But it doesn't mean that you have to latch on to those negative thoughts. It doesn't mean that's who you are. It doesn't mean that's how you have to live your life, that you can keep on living and you can change the way you think. And when you change the way that you think, you change the way that you feel. And when you can change the way that you feel, you change how you act, how you show up in the world. And that's a good thing, because Grief Inspired is about understanding your grief, using your grief, and then being inspired to give back to someone else, to show up differently in the world, and to make a difference in your own life first, and then in the lives of the people around you. And that's a very powerful thing.